Alright, hi everyone. So, I'm back. So, yeah, I'm on my main now. I reinstalled because I wanted to build an art bot. Uh, it turned out very nicely. It's on my factory if anyone wants to see it. It's called Somber Rain. It's a mega bot. I'm not gonna load it because it's gonna take too long. Anyways, back on point. So today I'm gonna talk about how to build a Sprinterplane or how to route a Sprinterplane. I already did a meta type of Sprinterplane before on stream. Actually, it's on my YouTube channel. I'll put it in the description. But well, that was old meta as mega plate spam. But nowadays, people use more block spam, and I've seen that people are having troubles with routing this. So I'm gonna do a short tutorial. So typically, you're gonna have 3 to 4 wings, and then you're gonna have uh, 4 or a lot more hovers, cause hover spam. So this is actually a lot less complex than people might think it is. So I want to color code this. So I'm laying it out like this because it's gonna be a lot easier to see this way. And then I'm gonna have. Let's have Actually, I'll do that later. Okay. So we have this, right? So we have 3 wings, 3 rudders, and 3 hovers. Well, these are gonna be tier 4 or probably, and then you're gonna have more. But let's talk about the basic of the basic first. So first of all, what I'm gonna do is pair 1 wing to 1 hover and 1 rudder first, and make sure that none of these overlap. So I'm just gonna don't mind the way I'm connecting. You can always readjust it for your own bot. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna color code this orange, and then let's have this connect to a hover. Let's actually let's just do this. A short diagonal. There we go. Okay, so that's one pair. This I'll call this set. So this is one set. One set is 1 wing, 1 rudder, and 1 hover. So I'll make set number 2. Uh, Number 2, and then I'm gonna color this yellow. Wait, I need to add a hover. So I'm gonna do that. Oh. Okay, that's set number 2, yellow. And then let's make set number 3. Actually, I'm gonna put the rudder in the back, because you're gonna have 1 rudder in the back anyway. And that's set number 3. Let's color this green. Alright, that's set number 3. 1, 2, and 3. So what I'm gonna do now is connect these sets together. But how am I gonna do this? So basically, what these sets allow you to do is one set is like a core, essentially. Having having the components of one set will allow you to have perfect movement, basically, or almost perfect movement at lower, especially at lower HP. So what I'm gonna do is connect these together, but not in just any way. Just a second. I need to think. Uh, okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna add two things on this platform. I'm gonna glitch it on. Don't glitch your bots, people. I have Mega Rail here, and then I'm gonna have an ion on this side. Let's call these white. And then I'm gonna have a module. Let's have it be DSM. Well, actually, let's have it be power module. But I want it to face upwards, so face downwards. So I'm gonna do this. So what you want to do is have one wing and one hover connect to each of these things, each of these major components, module, gun, and ion. So by major component, I mean major loadouts. So I'm gonna first do this. Don't mind the ticks. You have to adjust your ticks according to damage things, of course. But this is what I'm gonna do for now. So I have rail connected to wingset 1 or wingset orange. I'll call it by color. Wingset orange, right? Oh, whoops! I have to delete it. This okay. I have rail connected to wingset orange, right? So what I want to do? What do I want to do? I want my wingset 2 to connect to something else. So I'm going to do that to ion. Again, do not mind the ticks. Make sure you adjust your ticks according to your own bot. I am just establishing the connections in this tutorial. Is there any way I can do this cleanly? Fuck. Oh, there we go. So this is connection number 2. Ion to wing number 2. Now I want to do the same for module. Module to wingset number 3. Or specifically wing number 3. And then remember what I said before. I want to connect one hover and one wing to each components, right? So what do I want to do? I need to make sure I want to avoid making a connection between rail and hover from set number 1 because it's already connected through the wing. This is connected to the wing connected to rudder connected to hover. So which one do I want to use? Do I want to use the ion one or do I want to use the module one? Now remember, almost always you want a dedicated connection from your module to both your guns. Always you want this. So you already have a direct connection from your module to gun. Module to gun, yeah. So do you want to use the connection from hover from here or hover from ion? Hover from module or hover from ion? I want to use it from ion because I don't have a connection from the ion to the gun, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. Like so. It's already looking quite complex. Alright, so now I want to do almost pretty much the exact same thing for the ion. I don't think I have to explain it once again, but yeah. So yeah. Now your gun and guns are connected to each other indirectly. Very, very indirectly. But in the end, they are connected to each other. Now, as I said before, I want my module to connect to both my guns. Oh, there we go. There, module to both my guns. Now, my hover here is unused. So what do I do with this hover? Well, I'm gonna now establish a second gun to gun. And that is because you want both your guns to survive, but at a very, very long tick. So right now you have two indirect gun to gun connections. But frankly, that's not enough, in my opinion. So what you want to do is alright, let's grab this. You can see that this hover connection is now getting crowded with connection points. But that's okay because every single connection established by this hover is already established in other sections. So you don't have to worry about this hover getting blown off and all your connections getting blown off at the same time. This is very crucial to when making a point on your bot where multiple connections collide with each other. Because otherwise you will lose way too much connections from one thing getting blown off. So this is what's happening right now. Alright, now what I do with the guns and other things. Now I need damage sinks. So typically you're going to use mega hovers or mega plates, so I'm just going to use mega plates for the sake of my sanity. Or block spam, I guess. Actually, I'm not even going to do because this is the connections that you have to establish. These are all the connections that you have to establish. And one thing, I did connect it directly using rods like this. But one thing you have to remember, almost never do you want to use rods connected directly to your weapon mount, because otherwise this weapon mount is no longer usable at all. Like it's no longer usable for any other connections. But if you do it by cubes like this, let's just use this block. I don't really care. Then now you can use this connection and spread it off to somewhere else, like block spam. And which of these connections should we expand to block spam is the question. Because you want more than one connection to block spam for each weapon, right? So one thing that I will recommend is always have your weapon from module be dedicated. So I did remove this, but that was an example. So when you choose, make sure you avoid choosing the module to weapon, either one of the connections, because this is what keeps a lot of your core together on your bot. So instead what I like to choose is your gun to dedicated hover. I did this before, right? So this one, I said that the gun goes to hover number 2, right? So this hover goes to block spam. And I also want this hover, this connection itself to go to block spam as well. So what I'm gonna do is do this. And do that, and then I'm gonna connect it to block spam, preferably separate from this mount. So I'm gonna have like a block spam connection that goes below the bot, and then this goes to the top, like that. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing for Ion and the module. And then now you have two connections from weapon to weapon to block spam. If you want a third one, you should always grab your wing. So I use the wing set 1 to rail. So I want to use the wing set 1, the wings connection to the rail, to block span. And then same for the ion. And one thing you have to remember, any critique between your gun and your wing, or gun to a hover, or gun to module, should be longer tick than your gun to block span, or should be a long enough tick that when your gun gets degunned and the overflow damage goes into the block span before it destroys your parts. Because your crucial movement parts are what allows you to move, right? You want to keep these 3 sets alive as long as possible, and this is exactly how you do it. So yeah, remember to do that. And now you need to make sure, one last thing, make sure that these each of these hovers and rudders goes to block spam or your bot's noodle somewhere else and know the connections. But most likely you will go to block spam. Make sure that every single hover and every single rudder and every single wing goes to block spam. And when you establish these connections, you need to note that wing set 1 is connected together. So you want to have a block span connection from wing for wing set 1, rudder for wing set 1, and hover for wing set 1, all be separate in a certain extent. You don't want it to be all over the place, right? But you want it to be isolated to a certain extent. And how do you do this? You will normally choose a hover, like rudder. I would just choose the one that's nearby wing as possible. But for rudder and hover, I would choose 2 that are somewhat isolated from each other. That's what you would usually do. Okay, so this is the essential core connections, at least. What do I do with the other hovers? In my opinion, I would just spam them randomly, and then use them, and then just dual mount them slightly, and then call them day. Because you have so many of these hovers, they're not really crucial for your movement. They're actually just speed boost parts, right? So you don't really need to establish a dedicated connection for them. You just need to spam them and make sure they're dual mounted so they don't crit off too much. And that's about it. I hope you found this helpful, and if you have any questions, leave a link, leave in the comments below, or join the EP Discord, which will be in the description, and ask questions there. I'm sure everyone will be happy to help. And I hope you found this helpful again, and see ya.